Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT, where you're listening. You are watching on Facebook Live on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and we appreciate you being here wherever you're listening and watching from. We appreciate that so very much. Of course, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora has archives of over 1,400 shows audio-wise, and I think it's at this point probably close to that on video too, on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and YouTube. You'll find us on all of those. Of course, our videos on YouTube.com/LiveNowDT, and our audio on all of the rest. So make sure that you connect with us there by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, happy to be here with you. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com is what's poppin'. Two offensive linemen that were teammates and with each other for a couple seasons there, that being Nick Robinson, who was just with us, and Kyle Knapp, who is now with us. Kyle coming to us from the West Coast, where he's been for about a year and a half now, and hailing from Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is right where that Western Michigan team is that you know that Tim Lester and I talk about all the time, is he's Syracuse's former quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator who went over to his alma mater of Western Michigan where he played quarterback, and is now leading that team and just led a fantastic comeback game, down by 10 to win by a few. And what an awesome game. And I actually have the highlights of it brought to you by ESPN's feed. I have those highlights on my social media, so you can check it out on Twitter at CallDT and on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, so make sure that you do that. With that being said, Kyle Knapp is here with us, played on 2012 and 2013 teams at Syracuse on the offensive line, and I am ecstatic to have him here on the show. From the East Coast with Nick to the West Coast with Kyle, let's bring him in. Kyle, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Dan? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, I'm doing great, and you know, it's so cool to talk with you here because, I mean, I remember you being on the team. You know, I remember being out here and doing interviews and stuff with you, and here you are on the West Coast now, and life has moved on, and you got other stuff going on in life after football and whatnot. What's it been like, you know, since Syracuse? Bring us into what you're up to now, because I think it's so important for people to hear, especially people that are playing, that there is life after football, there is life after sports. You do eventually have to move forward, no matter how many years you play, and go on to that next part in your life. So what has that been like for you?
Well, yeah, so I actually had a little bit of an interesting journey after Syracuse. So as you know, I did get hurt after my sophomore year, so that was definitely a little bit of a different path for me. You spend your whole life getting ready to play football, and then to have it come crashing to an end was tough, but was able to finish out my time at Syracuse. I coached a little bit, and then I actually decided, I don't know if you knew this, Dan, but I decided to do a fifth-year transfer to Western Michigan in Kalamazoo. So I made the attempt to I graduated in winter of 2015, and then made the attempt to go to Western to play under P.J. Fleck, and went through all the winter conditioning, did some spring ball, and then I actually got another concussion, and at that point, you know, it was just time to call it. But I'm definitely glad I still went to Western and had that experience. I got to meet some lifelong friends there. And after that, started working for my dad while I was finishing up my master's there at Western.
Yeah.
And definitely, if my dad's listening, he'll laugh because I think work is a pretty strong term there. But it was still a good intro into the working world for sure, though. And worked for my dad for a while, and then I actually got a job with a medical device company called Stryker, where I'm still working as a marketing associate, and that was definitely a really cool experience for me. Stryker is a company that hires a lot of athletes, and it really has that athlete mindset that I really love. It's very competitive. That marketing associate position is very competitive. You're, you know, competing with your friends to try to do the best you can do, and your goal is, the goal used to be and still kind of is to try to get a sales rep's position, and so you're competing with your friends to get the positions. And I was fortunate enough now, that's what I'm doing in California, is I'm selling out here. So Stryker, definitely, I probably would not have come out here if it wasn't for the opportunity with Stryker.
So you have this opportunity. You're out there doing your thing and whatnot. You said it's competitive. How does it remind you of football? How did football prepare you for the competition in your professional life?
Well, I mean, especially with sales, there are a lot of other competitive products out here when you're selling. I sell safety devices, and there's other products that we go against every day, and it's your job to inform the customer of why your product is the best for their facility. And, sometimes that conversation isn't always easy. There's a lot of things that come into factors. There's price that comes into factor. There's clinical value, and it really just comes down to, can you sell them on this, and can you make sure they know that this is going to be the best for them. And it just reminds me of football, because there's going to be days where it seems like you're never going to be able to get it done. But, you just got to keep pushing through, keep working hard, and eventually, if you never give up, you're usually going to get your goal.
Yeah, and that's, and obviously that's, like you talked about with competition and whatnot, and, working hard toward it and getting after it. When you were medically disqualified at Syracuse, unfortunately, that seems to have happened for a bunch of people, and kind of at one point it seemed like it was like running rampant. Bring me through that process on how you were medically disqualified, and if you, obviously you didn't agree with it fully because you went to Western Michigan and obviously had to get a second opinion and whatnot, but bring me through that.
Yeah, so as far as the concussions go, I know Syracuse has a very strict 3 concussions. I'm not sure if that policy still stands, but when I was there, they had a really strict, if you had 3 concussions, you were done. And at the time, after my first one, I honestly think I came back a little bit too early, and I feel like the second one probably could have still been classified as the first one. But it was definitely a little bit tough then coming back and playing for a while, and then I didn't get my third one until spring ball. And just to have them tell you, I knew they were going to count as my third one, and I kind of knew it was coming, but just to sit down and have them tell you the sport you've been working your whole life for is coming to an end. And you talk to a lot of guys on the show, it's your life, and you work so hard to get to that point, and have them tell you it's going to be all over was really tough. And I'm not going to lie when I say I think the 3 and done policy could maybe be a little bit better than that. But I ran with it for a little while. I started coaching. Coach Schaefer was nice enough to let me stay on the staff for a little bit. Was working out with Coach Hicks a lot, which I did enjoy. And then after I was done doing that, I just was around my teammates all the time and really got the itch to play. It was a little bit brutal seeing them have all the fun, so I wanted to give it another shot. And I went out to Pittsburgh to get a second opinion from a doctor out there, and he gave me the okay to play, and that's when I started pursuing other colleges, and was lucky enough to have P.J. Fleck bring me on as a walk-on.
Yeah, and for you to be able to do that, like you said, the first concussion you had at Syracuse, you thought you came back too early, could have, been just remnants of the first one, arguably. When you went for the second opinion, you got cleared, for whatever reason, there's a bunch of Syracuse players that have transferred and they got medically disqualified and then they became qualified somewhere else. Why is that in your opinion, or what? Is it in your case because the concussion you thought the first and second were really just the first? Why is it like not just you but the Stephen Clarks and other players transferring and the AJ Longs that it seems like they can get cleared after being at Syracuse with a second opinion?
At the end of the day, I think it just comes down to, I feel like medical opinions are very subjective and everybody has their own opinions. And not saying what's the right and wrong opinion. In my situation, I got my second opinion, and then when I went to play again at Western, I ended up getting another concussion. So,
right.
It's one of those things where I just think Syracuse is doing what they think is right, but in some situations, if you want to fight against it, or if you want to make sure that you're getting all the information you can, then I definitely think it is worth it that you've seen these guys go and get second opinions and try to play again if that's where their heart's at. And, you know, I do think it's one of those things, too, where there's so many different specialists out there. And that was the one thing I said I wish would have been a little bit different is I wish we talked to more specialists while I was at Syracuse instead of when I got my second opinion.
Is you wish that you would have talked to more specialists here?
Yeah, I wish we would have had more specialists come in at that time, and we could have, you know, talked to them who deal with these cases, you know, every single day.
Yeah,
because when I went to Pittsburgh, it was, you know, they actually had me they found out that it was something to do with my eyes when I got the concussions, and that was one of the reasons I was having issues. So they actually gave me, it was kind of interesting. I'd never seen anything like it, like eye training to do. So I would do eye training, and they had these different games on this laptop to kind of train my eyes to kind of get back to a point where they were normal. And it was pretty interesting. And obviously, when I was at Syracuse, they didn't do any of that. So just to have found out there was stuff out there like that was pretty neat.
So, I mean, do you think that maybe if there was more specialists there for you at Syracuse, that, you know, there could have been a chance for you to get back on the field? I mean, do you think that if there was more of people that, you know, were really in the field of that, you know, of that, and really just study the mind, were more accessible, that there could have been maybe a future for you at Syracuse?
And, you know, I can't really speculate that. I hate to do this shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
But, you know, who knows? I just think in general it is a good thing to have specialists there who, like I said, I mean, this is all they work with, and they're experts in the field. And, yeah, I definitely think it would be a good thing. Not saying I have no idea how it would have affected my career at all, but I don't think it's a bad thing to have it.
That coming here from Kyle Knapp this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, speaking here with the offensive lineman alum of Syracuse University. Kyle, when you went to Western Michigan and you got that last concussion, what was going through your mind and your heart at that point? You know, I mean, football is obviously a sport you love. You came here and played at D1 at Syracuse from Kalamazoo. You went back to Kalamazoo and tried to continue your career there. I mean, what can you tell me about your love for football and what was going through your mind and heart when you knew, you know, I got to hang it up?
I mean, football has just taught me so many life lessons. I think of high school, all the hardships you go through to even be able to have an opportunity to play at the next level. And,
yeah.
I thought about all the memories that had given me. One of the greatest memories of my life is when my dad and my grandpa and I, we all went on a road trip going to college camps and trying to, you know, get recruited, and the road trips and actually participating in the camps and the powwows afterwards. And it was just such a great time in my life. And you kind of, when you realize it's coming to an end, you see all that stuff kind of flashes through your eyes, and you really think about it. And just when I was at Western and knew it was coming to an end, it was really difficult for me. But to be honest, I kind of knew at that point it was probably time with having another concussion. It was going to be really tough to be able to get a spot. And at that point, you know, probably best for my health wise to move on and then start working on my career. So it was a really, really tough time. But at the end of the day, everything happens for a reason. And I feel like I'm in a good spot now and very blessed to be where I'm at now.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And obviously we talked about life after football and what you're doing and how you're doing it right now, which I think is incredible, and I think it's a testament, and I think people need to hear it because there is life post-football, as we're talking here with Kyle Knapp. Kyle, for you to go through everything you went through, like you said, you got to be – Schaefer let you stay on the staff. What was that like? I mean, you and I didn't get to talk when you were on the staff because they didn't, like, allow it at Syracuse or whatever once you had joined the staff. But what was life like? What did you do on the staff? Because that was kind of like the lost years of Kyle Knapp because we didn't get to talk to you. So bring me into that time and what you were doing at Syracuse.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of, I felt like it was kind of like a graduate assistant position. I was just helping out with the O-line wherever I could. And
okay.
I was helping Perlis, and then when Adam came on, I was helping him. And, you know, it was really just helping out wherever I could. I got to be completely honest with you. In hindsight, I loved working with the O-line, but I also, you know, Coach Hicks, I heard Seamus say this when he was on the show too. Coach Hicks was like a second dad to me. So part of me always like, man, maybe I should have just been a weight room coach too. Because the one thing I will say is it is a little different being in those meetings. I mean, they're talking about your friends in the meetings. So it's people you hang out with every day. Yeah. And I do know that was an original concern too for them is, you know, they made sure to tell me, hey, anything that's said in these meetings is confidential. And it kind of has a different dynamic too, and you feel a little bit different when you're hanging out with your friends. And I was so thankful for the opportunity and that they were willing to work with me. But it definitely was a little bit different. I think it would have been a lot different if I obviously wasn't friends with everybody on the teams.
Well, you know, well, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was just saying, but I mean, like I said, I'm very grateful for it. And then one of the most fun experiences I had during all of that is I was still able to work out with Coach Hicks and Matt. And man, I tell you what, that was a really fun time in my life. I was obviously in a low point losing football, but those guys it was so fun being able to lift with them every day and really challenge ourselves. And I was trying to lose the lineman weight, and we were lifting heavy every day. That was a really fun time. They really helped cheer me up, that's for sure.
Yeah, you know, and it's so cool, you know what I mean, that you got to do something like that. But like you said, it's so difficult because, you know, these are your teammates, and now you have to, you know, be in these rooms assessing how they play, and where you were one of the guys being assessed, now you're doing the assessing with the coaching staff. How strange was that for you? And did you garner respect from your peers, and could they listen to you, having had you next to them, and now you're the one telling them, like, this is what you need to do, and critiquing them? Were you able to bounce into that? Did it take time, and do you feel like that, you know, your peers and your former teammates were able to listen to maybe some of your pointers and constructive criticism?
You know, I think the people that were able to listen to me the most were definitely the younger guys.
Okay.
Just because obviously, you know, they're new coming in anyway, and they're looking for somebody to give them some guidance. So I think the younger guys definitely for sure. And then obviously I had my friends like Omari and Seamus that would listen to me, but it's tough for me too, right? Because I never really started before I got hurt. So it's also hard for me to come in and tell a starter, like, this is what they should be doing. I mean, if I had somebody in my position, I was a starter, that I had somebody that, you know, hadn't started themselves telling me what to do, I probably would have felt the same way too. So that was definitely an interesting dynamic. But I'd say definitely the younger guys, my friends, respected me, and they were always, you know, tried to make it a little bit more fun for me, especially Omari and Seamus. And it was really nice having those guys as roommates too, to be able to talk to after practice and to hang out with.
You know, in Seamus, when he was on the show, he talked about you and about Amari. What do you have to say to me about Seamus Shanley? Because he was shouting you guys out and talking about how much, you know, he loves and he appreciates you guys and the relationships you have and all that. What can you tell me about Seamus Shanley from your point of view?
Well, Seamus, I mean, you just talk about a great guy who's always going to look out for you. And just, I mean, you look at his family. You want to talk about just the nicest people you're ever going to meet. I mean, his dad literally has the nickname Officer Friendly, just because he's always, I mean, they would do anything for you. And Seamus is always going to look out for you. If you're having a bad day, he's going to try to cheer you up. And, you know, even when he's having a bad day, he's going to try to cheer up to talk to you. So I loved living with that guy. I really hope he's doing well. I know he's engaged now, so he's got a lot going on in his life. But really hoping to meet up with them again soon. Obviously, I heard you and Dick talking about wanting COVID to be over. I'm sure, obviously, everybody's in that boat. I am 100% in on that, too, because I'm really looking forward to being able to start making trips again and start seeing some of my friends, and definitely want to make a trip to Syracuse again. We actually went to Florida State game. It probably had to have been 2 or 3 years ago now, and that was a great time being able to see everybody. We had Seamus, Omari, and Julian was there too.
Yeah, you know, and that's so awesome. And Julian, as you know, I mean, he's with me every Wednesday, Mr. Wiggum. So, Julian, what can you tell me about Julian that I can use against him every Wednesday? What can you tell me about Mr. Wiggum? Throw me something at Julian.
Oh, man, I got some. He's listening right now. Hopefully he does listen at some point. But, man, that guy is so funny because, we lived with each other for a while. And, I mean, the stuff this guy ate, he would eat anything and everything. And one thing I'll always remember with Julian is how he tried to justify what he was eating to me. So he'd have some French fries and he'd be like, "No, man, this is the necessary carbs I need to sustain myself." And then he'd be eating some ice cream and he goes, No, man, there's the protein from the milk in this ice cream. This is gonna help give me the energy I need. But the thing is, the guy never, he was always still super in shape, and it's like you couldn't even say anything to the guy. It's like, shoot, man, I wish I could do that. Of course, as a lineman, I mean, when I was playing, I was eating pretty much everything he was eating too, so it actually worked out really well. We were usually eating the same stuff, but his description of everything just always made me laugh.
That's awesome. I'm gonna talk to him about that tomorrow for sure. No, man, you don't understand. I need this ice cream, and the syrup. What the syrup does is it helps my metabolism. And putting the nuts in the brownie underneath it, man, because I need the carbs, and I need to have the breads, I can picture him doing. Man, I'm so good. I'm happy you said something, because let me ask you this about Julian. How long does it take Julian to send something in the mailbox? Is he an on-time guy? Because he owes me a jersey, and he told me that it's in the mail. Am I going to see it before 2021?
You might have to hassle him a few times on it, but he'll get it to you eventually. He always comes through. It might take a little bit of time, but he does always come through. Oh man, that man.
Yeah, go ahead.
He actually came out to visit me. I don't know. I think it was maybe pre-COVID, but he came out to visit me, and it was great to have that guy and just reminisce on all the old times. And another place. Outback Steakhouse, we would go there. I mean, we were at the point where we were going there, probably had to have been at least 2 times a week. We were going to Outback Steakhouse, and we would get, large cheese fries, and we were just eating crap.
So go to Outback Steak. So now I know where y'all were sneaking off to and the stuff that you were doing. This is good stuff. I just sent him a message on Twitter. I tagged him. I put you wilding out, Julian. So we'll see. We'll see what he thinks. We'll see what he thinks. But we're here with Kyle Knapp this morning inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. It's Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Kyle joining us on the West Coast. Played offensive line for Syracuse. Your bonds that you have. We talk about those bonds that'll never be broken. And the connections that you have there. You, like Nick Robinson, were part of the breaking of a bond with the Big East, the forming of one with the ACC, the breaking of having Doug Marrone, the forming of having Scott Schaefer. You went through, just like Nick did, you went through both things at the same time. A coaching change is jarring, I'm sure. A conference change is it's historically changing. So how did you handle them both? And like I asked Nick, did your head spin? And just what you can tell me about having to deal with 2 massive changes that nobody really can, anticipate or expect, maybe with a coach, but not with a conference. How did you handle all that and having it at the same time?
Well, I will say, I think the hardest thing for me was definitely, to be honest with you, the conference change, I mean, obviously we notice it. I mean, it's a huge change, but personally, just because I redshirted my freshman year anyway, and I never really truly played against, just true Big East competition. That wasn't, quite as different for me, because then once the season started, all right, this is the set of teams we're going to play now. But as far as the coaching change goes, I mean, that was, a huge, huge change, especially just the way it happened. We're on winter break at the time, or I'm home at the time, and
yeah.
I found out, my dad woke me up, and he found out from ESPN. And it was just all of a sudden all right, I guess this is going to be a change, especially, when, and I completely get it. You got to look out for your career, and you have to look out for your family, and you got to keep moving on. But, it's always tough, and this is recruiting in general. All the coaches do it, but it's always tough when you have somebody come to your house and tell you, this is going to be where they're going to be for the long haul, and they're really looking forward to building the team here long term, and then, they take off. And like I said, I mean, I completely get it. You got to look out for yourself and your dreams, look out for your family. But it was definitely, I thought I was going to be playing for Coach Marone for a while, so that was definitely a little bit of a shock at first. But I'm glad they brought Coach Schaefer on, and he was able to keep a little bit of what Coach Marone had built. So I am glad they hired within on that.
So you found out about Doug Marone leaving Syracuse for Buffalo, not by Doug, but by your dad waking you up because of seeing it on the news.
Yeah.
How did you feel as a player of that coach that he didn't tell you before the world found out?
It was tough, and I know a lot of the guys felt the same way. We were hoping we could at least get a text or something. It's actually funny because one of the memories I do have is, I forget who it was, but one of my teammates literally said, like, man, it would have been nice if we could have gotten a Brodsky text or something, and because Coach Brodsky, texted us about everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was definitely interesting. I'm not, I'm sure when you're in that position, you got to play everything close to the chest. And he did have a speech to us afterwards, and obviously I don't have any ill feelings towards the guy. He did everything that he felt was right, and he's trying to progress his career and do what's right for his family. But yeah, it does hurt you a little bit though, and it's just like they don't even give you a call.
So how did the speech happen? Did he call you guys in eventually and see you face to face? I mean, what happened with the speech?
Well, so we were on winter break, and obviously this was a while ago now, but
yeah.
we were on winter break, and when we came back, they ended up calling everybody into the room and just had the speech. And from what I remember, it was a good speech and everything. So I really, at this point, it was so long ago, it's water under the bridge as far as that goes.
So did he make the speech, or was it made for him?
No, he made the speech.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did the team respond?
I think it was tough for everybody at first, but we were ready to keep moving forward. I think the other thing that was a little bit tough is, obviously we lost all of our position coaches too.
Yeah.
And I really liked Coach Atkins a lot. Liked all the other O-line coaches we had too, but it was definitely like, these are the coaches you signed up to play for, and they're all head to the NFL with Coach Marone. So I think that was obviously an adjustment for everybody.
Yeah, and obviously having to move on from that. What did you take away from Scott Schaefer? I mean, what did you like about Scott? I know he was the D coordinator, and he came over to take over the whole team, hiring from within and whatnot. What did you like about him?
I think he's just a genuinely good guy. Thought he was a great coach too, and I really do appreciate, with everything going on with me, he didn't have to invite me to stay on as a coach, and he could have very easily just said, hey, buzz off. But it really means a lot to me that he brought me on and tried to keep me a part of the team as long as he could, and always would be grateful to him for that for sure.
Yeah, coming from Kyle Knapp this morning, Syracuse Orange football offensive lineman alum from 2012-13, went on to play at Kalamazoo as well. You mentioned Coach Hicks. Seamus Shanley had some incredible words for Hicksy. I'm a big fan of Mr. Hicks. What can you tell me about your relationship with Coach Hicks and what you think about him?
Oh, he's just, like I said, and I think a lot of guys will tell you, he's like a second dad to me. He's, whenever you're in the weight room, he's always going to look out for you, and even outside of the weight room. I mean, he was probably, of all time, he's one of the coaches where I really, truly felt that he just really cared about you as a person and wanted to see you succeed. And he had that great balance of, he was going to push you hard, but at the same time, he was also going to make sure you were okay too. And, I don't have enough good things. Like, that guy is just, I text him once in a while right now and check in on him. And there was a time where, towards the end of my career, when I was starting to go play at Western, I was kind of, not by Coach Hicks, but by other staff members, I was asked not to come around quite as much. And so that was really hard when I wasn't able to work out with Coach Hicks and them as much. And we didn't talk for a little bit, but we have started texting again, and sounds like he's doing well. And I'm hoping next time I'm in Syracuse we can definitely grab a beer or something.
Yeah, so bring me into that. So what happened? You were asked to not be around the team?
Yeah, so towards the end there, when I was about to play at Western, so I'd actually gotten back from the summer. I did a summer internship with Macy's in New York City. And I came back from that, and I was ready to help out. I was all ready to come to camp to help out and coach. And Coach, they told me, don't worry about coming to camp. And I was like, okay, cool. And then when I got there and started helping out, I could tell things were a little bit different. And when I went into the weight room one day, I don't want to name names of coaches, but I had a coach come and just tell me, it's you haven't really been doing too much for the team for a while, which, I mean, he wasn't wrong, and just basically said not to really come around the cafeteria or anything anymore, and the weight room was tough. And I remember Coach Hicks, right away was like, well, we can find other times. And it was tough for me because my class schedule was already set, so it was going to be hard for me to do that. But, yeah, that was a really emotional time for me. I try not to think about that too much because that was probably one of the only sour points I had there. But moved on from that, and I'm really glad that I've been able to text with Hicks again and kind of rebuild that.
And the thing with Hicksy is that's what I hear from people. If people are frustrated, if they're upset, they still love Coach Hicks. I mean, I feel like he should be at the top of the mountain over there. You know what I mean? So. Oh,
for sure. I mean, no, I don't think I've met a person that doesn't like Coach Hicks, and I mean he's always going to try to do right by you, and he's just a great guy and a great coach.
That coming from Kyle Knapp here this morning. Kyle, before we go into rapid fire, tell me about life in Kalamazoo. Obviously Lester and I are close. And I appreciate Tim Lester on and off the field. Western Michigan, fantastic stuff. And actually, I can say it here on the show, and you'll hear it first. And the people that are listening and watching, I'm doing something special with Tim Lester this week that nobody knows about. And so I'm really excited. I mean, he comes on the show, but we're going to do something really cool that we're going to be sharing. So I'm excited.
Are you taking the flight to Kalamazoo?
You know what? If there was no Rona, then my butt would be in Kalamazoo going to see some of this, but some action. But I look forward to seeing him soon and being around him soon. But I'm so happy for him, and he's doing great stuff. So you had PJ Fleck over there and whatnot. But tell me about Kalamazoo. How would you describe it? What should I ask Tim Lester about? Are they places to eat and places to go? Give me some notes on Kalamazoo that I can use with Lester. What can you say?
Yeah, well, I'll just say, obviously born and raised in Kalamazoo. I just think of Kalamazoo, first thing I think of is it is a great place to raise a family. Some great suburb areas. There's plenty to do. Well, moving out to California, a lot of my California friends would probably argue that a place like Kalamazoo has a lot to do when you move out to a place like this. But, I still love Kalamazoo. I think there's plenty to do there. And
yeah.
There's some great local spots. You definitely got to have Coach Lester take you to a place called the Beer Exchange. It's like a stock market for beer. So
okay.
The prices will rise, and then eventually everybody goes for the market crash where all the beers are at their lowest prices. That's a pretty cool spot. They have Hopcat, Bell's Brewery. You've probably seen them in a lot of stores. They have some great beer. Two Hearted's good.
Okay.
There is more than beer in Kalamazoo too, but
yeah.
some of the better places for sure that I like. And then it's just a great town. And then Western's campus is beautiful. I know everybody you talk to that comes to Western it's a hidden gem, and people are surprised that a great school like that is in a smaller town like Kalamazoo. But it was a great place to grow up, and my family, Grandpa owned a business there, and my dad took it over, and
yeah.
Then I worked for, obviously, my dad for a little bit, and if I would have kept working for my dad, I probably would have never left Kalamazoo, and would have been okay with that.
That's pretty amazing and pretty awesome. It says something about your family, the beer exchange. I'm excited to know about that and go into that. So before I let you go, Kyle, we're going to play something called Rapid Fire. You get 3 questions. You're used to being a player and a coach, which means you didn't get to ask the questions. Now you do. So 3 questions. You can ask me anything in the world. It doesn't have to do with sports. It could do with anything. I have to answer it. We are live. And whenever you're ready, go ahead.
All right. I'm sure you've answered this question before, but how did you get into broadcasting? How did you know that this is something you wanted to do?
I would tell you that I got into it because I've always loved to bring people together through talking and finding, things that I've always loved to learn about people, learn about things, bring people together. I like making people laugh. So telling a story was always a part of my life. Being a person that could walk into a room full of strangers and leave with a room full of friends has always been a part of my life. So that kind of all just came together, and I memorized statistics because I collected cards growing up. I still collect them, and so I was kind of like a little bit of everything. But, I'm a storyteller. I use it with this. I use it with stand-up comedy, thoughts of the future. I use it with movie stuff and acting and writing and screenwriting and writing lyrics to songs. So I've always been a storyteller. I would like to think that my point gets across. I'd like to think that people know that I'm positive and that I work to bring good into the world and make the world a better place and a smaller place in a good way. And so, yeah, it kind of all just comes together every single day. I don't feel like I ever work, and that's such an amazing part of my life. And I can't thank God enough for something like for that. I mean, my life is, I get to live my life while working, where some people put their lives on hold to work.
Yeah.
My life is my work. And I get to enjoy that every day, so that's really cool, and I love it, and I thank God for it.
That's awesome to hear, man. And that's one thing I know. To start the call, you're talking about life after football, and to anybody that ever listens to this, that's something is just find something you love to do. Football is a game that we love to do, and it's of course there's hard times with it, but it doesn't really feel like a job, and you can find work like that too. And you can live your life doing what you love to do, and if you're good enough at it, obviously you can always make money doing it. So it's always try to find a job where you're passionate to get up and go to work every day.
I love that advice, and it's 1,000% true. What's your second one for me, Kyle?
All right, second one. Let's go ahead and go. If you were going to do something different in another life, what would that be?
Well, I will tell you that I have a lot of plans in this life, and so probably next on the docket would be stand-up comedy. I do stuff here on the show. I do impressions. I have people call the show, so to speak, as impressions and whatnot, and do a lot of things. I mean, I talked to my one buddy, Ross. I called him up on the phone last week, and I don't even know what got. I mean, I just did it. But I was Bernie Sanders talking to Bill Clinton talking to Donald Trump. And
really?
Yeah, so you know what? I'll give you a little bit of it. I'm going to put your screen up here so that people, actually I'll put a screen up here on this so that people can't see my face, so you can get, really think about it and get within it. But I essentially it was just kind of off the wall, but I called him and I was like, hello, Ross. I'm so happy to talk to you. I don't want to talk about the emails. I just want a pastrami on rye, and I want to be left alone. I'm going to run for president when I'm 115 years old. I'm going to win that time. I know it. Why are you talking about running for president? You're like 115 right now. This is totally ridiculous. I don't even see the point. Did somebody talk about points? I love it. You know what I mean? I started to bring it in, and then I brought in that, that Bill Clinton, like, Hillary, I love you. Do you, boo-boo. So, it just kind of all came together in the moment, and they were playing off each other, and, he's like, I didn't have relations with Bernie Sanders. It just kind of just started happening, and
that is awesome, man.
Life has been...
That was really good.
Thank you so much. But you know, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I like making people laugh. So stand-up comedy would probably be the next most logical route.
That's awesome, man. I actually have a buddy that just started. He lives in Atlanta. He just started getting into that himself, and he loves it. So, shoot, man, it's not too late. You can always. I know there's plenty of places that have open mic night.
And I will also tell you that I have ex-girlfriend stories that deserve to be told.
Well, start writing the material, get on stage so we can hear them, man.
Yeah, man. I'm going to tell you, you're not going to believe it, but you're going to believe it. Like, after the show, you're going to shake my hand, you're going to pull me in and be like, dude, that was hilarious, and also terrifying. And I'm like, no, it was. You know, I mean, I think people are just going to be happy I'm alive after they hear these stories.
Love that.
What's your last one for me?
Last one. Let's see. Shoot, man, I don't know. Would this be a question? Can I hear one of those stories right now? You got a quick one for us that you can tell us?
Yeah, sure. I can do that. Let me see here. My comedy goes farther, and this is a family show. So what can I tell you? Oh my gosh. There's so many off-the-wall okay, all right, I'll tell you this story. So I dated this girl, and she never wanted to fart in front of me, which I appreciate, right? But like, because some women will because I don't like to do it, and you know, oh yeah, Dan, well you wanted to like what, like get a bunch of air in her body and like blow out. I'm like, no, like I don't burp in front of women still to this day. Like, I try not to burp in front of anybody. My mom, you know, I have allergies, so sometimes, you know, you get phlegm and you got to spit. I apologize, and I do it. But I don't like to burp and fart in front of people. It's not, I mean, especially not in front of a woman. I don't think it's a nice thing to do. So this girl thought I was in the bathroom in her house, and she let one out, and I can honestly tell you that, so she didn't know that I knew. But if I showed you, I mean, I guess I could show the camera here. Like, my face shutting the bathroom door, I was like I was horrified. I was mortified because it was so loud. It was just like it sounded like a horn. You know what I mean? It sounded like I didn't know if she farted or if we all had to get down because the Germans were coming. Like, I didn't know what was happening. I thought maybe it was a nuclear scare. I mean, maybe a preemptive Rona. I have no idea. But she let this thing out, and I didn't say anything for weeks, and then or for probably a couple weeks, and then I mentioned it to her, and she thought she got away with it. And the thing that was crazy is she was sitting on the floor, and I don't know how she didn't levitate off of this, but she was sitting on the floor, and she did it, and it was literally like, I'm not kidding with you, it was like, and when she did it, she just kind of looked to the side finally, and she goes, how did you know? I was like, because it hit the Richter scale. I was like, that thing rumbled all the way to the bathroom and made my feet move. Like, so I guess that's a clean story for me to tell. But
that's like that Larry. Did you ever see the Larry the Cable Guy where he said he was at dinner and this girl leaned in and she goes, Larry, I got these silent but deadly farts. What should I do? And he goes, well, first of all, you need to get your hearing checked.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, this was not silent. I don't know if it was deadly because I didn't come out. But I mean, it was somewhat mortifying. But yeah, I mean, I have so many stories, and almost none of them are PG. So we'll have to talk about.
Man, let's talk again on not the family-friendly show, and I can hear the other stories.
So Kyle, yeah, we will, Kyle. We'll definitely keep in touch, man. I'm so happy we got to do this, and hopefully, you know, now that we've done this, we can, you know, keep in touch on and off the air and, you know, build a friendship, because I'd love to do that with you. I think it's great that we got to catch up again.
Absolutely, man. I really appreciate you having me on, and, you know, it's, I've been asked by people before to do this, and I haven't really taken them up on it just because, obviously, when you think about injuries and stuff, there's always, you know, reliving that part of your life too. But so happy I got to get on here and talk about that with you, and really appreciate you giving me the time.
Man, I'm happy you said thank you. That means the world to me, and I really look forward to keeping in touch with you, Kyle. And I hope nothing but the best for you, health, safety, and happiness. And you and I will definitely do some laughing off the air as well.
Sounds good, man. Well, thanks again for having me on, man. I appreciate it. You have a good rest of your day.
All right, man. Take care. Be good.
All right, thanks, man. Talk to you later.
See you later.
Bye.
That coming, and God bless. That coming from my guy, Kyle Knapp, right there. Very, very excited. This is awesome. This is all. I mean, I know that it's like, Dan, you've done this for 18 plus, but this is all like kids, adults, look into the camera. Hear me on the microphone. If you're 80, if you're 100, if you're 2, if you're 12, if you're 15, if you're 25, please do what you love and love what you do. Like, this is what it looks like. I'm a big kid. I'm having a ball. I just had 2 of the greatest conversations in my life today. Just happy, honest, open, laughing, informative, cool. I mean, I love what I do. And I'm just so joyful about it. This is so cool. So, kid, this is what it looks like to be an adult, to be 35 and be smiling at work, because it's not a job. It's a lifestyle. It's fun. It's bringing people together, hopefully. And it's just so much fun, and I'm so thankful to God. I'm so thankful. And my grandfathers and my grandmothers and my parents and my friends and my family, everybody that makes up my family, and all of you, and all the companies that support me that have become extensions of, my family and all that good stuff. I mean, this is life, man. And it's awesome. It's awesome. Take a step aside for a fast break. We'll come back with the ingredients to success right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to wrap up today's broadcast.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecabal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store. You'll have their entire menu at your fingertips for Tuesday through Sunday. To order from them, you can say if you want to order it for now or for later. And once you do that, you'll have the entire menu there, from their salads to their rice bowls and quinoa bowls, their brick oven pizzas, their sandwiches that are named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski, to really ingrain them in the community and pay tribute to these awesome families. And on top of all of that, for their homemade breads and desserts and everything that they have to offer, the Millhouse Market is second to none. It makes me hungry every time I talk about it. And if you've never been there, you need to go, and then you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. Steak and Blue, bee sting pizza, love them both. The Cobb salad, fantastic. The ingredients feel like they were just picked that morning. So good. So, Millhouse Market, make sure you find your way out there. 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every time. And, of course, they have contactless pay as well as a drive-up window, so you don't even have to get out of the car, making it easy, keeping us safe, and giving us those awesome flavors every single time. with that being said, we're back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Find them inside of Golisano's Children's Hospital, as well as on 208 North Townsend Street, 324 West Water Street, 3501 James Street, and 401 South Salina Street. Inside of that beautiful cup, I fill it with the DT Special. You can get it at any location. The DT Special Pumpkin Spiced Chai is available for you at all Cafe Kubal locations. You can get that, as well as all of your favorite drinks, iced as well as hot, and of course some fantastic food. The upstate sandwich is incredible, and of course I love their chocolate chip cookies and their chocolate banana bread. Oh my gosh, chocolate chip banana bread, fantastic. So with that being said, speaking of food, it's time for the Ingredients to Success. The Ingredients to Success, proudly brought to you by Avicoli's on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York. They are available for you. You can go inside and dine in their pizza side, more casual side, or their fine dining side and bar, Monday through Thursday from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. on site. And then they're open. They didn't have to change their hours because I think every place has to close at 10, and they weren't open past it. So Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., and then Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. And, of course, you can get in touch with them by calling 315-622-5100 for curbside pickup, takeout, delivery, or catering. And, of course, you can go to myavicolis.com for all the good stuff as well to place your order at myavicolis, AVICOLLIS.com. Use the promo code online, AVS10, to get 10% off. That's AVS10. So, the Ingredients to Success for this week. Do what you love and love what you do. That's the topic, because it gives you the life that I would think that you want, right? You do what you love and you love what you do. If somebody told me, a Super Bowl champion, Dominique Rhodes, told me a while back, and I love that he told me this because it's so true, and I already believed it, but it was such a great time to reinforce it in my life. He said, do you love what you're doing? Like, are you living your dream? Like, do you love what you're doing? I was like, yeah. He said, chase that. Do that. He said, I see you, Dan. I see what you're doing. This was years ago. This is like 2010. He was like, I see what you're doing. I see what you got. Keep doing it. Keep loving it. Keep chasing your dreams. He said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, I didn't have anything. Now he had the money and all that stuff at that point, but he's like, I didn't have anything before. He said, I watch people chase money. They chase it forever. He said, if you do what you love, if you live your dreams, the money will chase you. You chase what you want, the money will chase up after you. But if you chase money, you'll chase it forever. And I never forgot that. And I appreciate that. And it's true. Do what you love and love what you do. Because I don't work a day in my life. My job is to talk to athletes. Nick Robinson's story, I can guarantee a bunch of you didn't know that whole story. That you didn't know about it, how he felt about recruiting, and that Syracuse waited till the last minute. And, his conversation and his thoughts on Carl Sanfilippo. And maybe you didn't even know that he was still in the community. And maybe you didn't know that Kyle Knapp went to Western Michigan. Or that he got DQ'd. Or why he got DQ'd. Or the fact that he wished that there was more people in the field that were here that could have given him a better assessment. Or the fact that he worked for his dad. Or, that he's living in California. The stories we're telling, the laughs, and, the jokes and everything we had here. My job every day is to talk to people, right? That's what most of us do, right? Even those of us that are deaf, we do sign language. We found a way to interact with people, to talk with people, to say thank you, and it's incredible that this is my job. My job is to talk. It's something I've done all my life to bring people together, make people laugh, learn, I've always used it as a vessel for good, or tried to. I'm not perfect. I made mistakes. But I lead with always wanting to help people. So I do what I love every day. And it's only going to get better from here. How do I know that? Because nothing's going to stop me. I control what I can control. My company's here. We're 8.5 years old. We're rocking through Corona. We'll make it through it. We'll live in it. We lived before it. We'll live through it and beyond it. You know, I said a long time ago, and I kind of forgot this until now. I said if the show if there was an apocalypse and there's just rubble everywhere, buildings leveled, zombies running across, I said I'd find a way to get on the air to be able to talk to people and hopefully give them hope and bring us together and get through it. I said I would find a way in the apocalypse to get on the air. Just to give people hope. And so I would tell you, what are the ingredients to success of doing what you love and loving what you do? Hone your talents. Know what you like. When you're a kid growing up, think about the things you love to do. There's adults that don't think about this stuff. You know, do you like being around children and working with them? You know, do you like teaching? Do you like to learn? Do you like to fly? Do you, are you mesmerized by great customer service in hotel rooms? You know, does realty mean something to you? You know, being able to help someone transition to the next part of their life and then help them have that home that, you know, could be a home of fantastic memories. Like, what are the things that move you and really get you like jazzed up and excited? Figure those things out, right? Be honest with yourself. Don't let anybody tell you can't, because that's BS. Those are people that haven't. When somebody tells you can't make it, that's not a happy person. There's not a happy person on this planet that I know that would tell you can't do something, because happy people were probably told that, right? So why would we do that? That's like paying it backward, not forward. And doesn't help anybody. You know what I mean? So I would tell you, embrace adversity, believe in yourself, hone your skills, know the things you like, be willing to risk, make a positive risk, right? A calculated risk. Don't just throw everything to the wind. You know, make a calculated risk in the sense of doing your research, going after stuff, asking questions, not half doing anything that you do. Put your personality into it. Don't pretend to be somebody else when you're doing something that you want to do in your life. Don't take on another persona. I mean, I do impressions, which is me talking as somebody else in the moment, but I don't live my life as somebody else. There's a big difference. Me doing an impression of somebody is vastly different than somebody living with a mask on the whole time, so to speak. And even though we have to wear masks right now with Corona, but you know what I mean. So I would tell you, be your true self. Learn who that is, because that person's going to evolve. And evolve, allow that evolution to happen. Don't devolve, evolve. Don't listen to the haters. I know it's harder now because of social media and everything's like right in your face. But, I would tell you, don't listen to it, because it doesn't do you any good. It stresses you out, and it doesn't make you a better person. It definitely doesn't make you healthy. And stress is a horrible thing. It makes everything worse. So I would tell you, don't stress. I would tell you to do deep breathing. I would tell you to meditate. Do yoga or walk. Have a really tight-knit circle of people that want to see you do well and trust you and love you and challenge you. Not people that constantly tell you that you can't. I don't know how you evolve when you have people telling you every reason why you're going to fail. They should be telling you the reason that you're going to succeed, which is because you're you. Your best reason on how you're going to succeed living your dreams is that you're you. That's what I would tell the world. How do you know you're going to do it? Because I'm Dan Tortora. And that's Dan Tortora. That's me. I'm me. And I said that to my buddy Evan yesterday. I go, when I embark on doing something that I'm really passionate about, I never think like, am I going to fail at this? I think of like, how am I going to succeed, and to what extent do I want to do? Like, I don't believe that I'm going to fail. I don't. Because to me, if I love it and I give it my all and that's where God wants me to be, it's going to work out. And if God wants me to be somewhere else, then that's going to work out. So I would also tell you to pray. Whatever religion you are, whatever background you have, even if you don't have a religion, I tell you to pray. And just give it all you got. Do your best. Be willing to take calculated risks. Be willing to not be liked. Be willing to have people be jealous. Be willing to not always have the money that you want. Be willing to sometimes feel like you're all alone. And Be your best friend. Love God. And never, ever stop being the good in the world, and never stop believing in yourself. You can, you will succeed. Juanita's right. And God is great all the time, even in the toughest times. I mean, during Corona, I have gotten better in so many ways. So I'm not happy that this thing has come to the world. I'm not happy it's taken lives. I'm not happy it's still here. I'm not happy that people get sick. But I am happy in my reaction to it. And that I didn't make excuses. I didn't lay down, but I rose up. And that's what we got to do. So you want the ingredients to success on living a great life, doing what you love and loving what you do? Believe in yourself. Look in the mirror today and tell that person, full name, I love you. I believe in you. We got this. And then go get it. Respectfully, morally, justly, go after it. I love you all, and I hope you all get what you're looking for and what you need. Because sometimes what we want is not always what we need. Remember that. You know, it's a tough thing to hear, but you try to live a life where what you want, what you need, end up paralleling each other. Right? To the best of your ability, that you go after what you need, and that your wants kind of match, you find a way to match that. Don't live your life saying, someday I'm gonna, because someday may never come. Do it now. Do it now. Calculated risks. Do the best you can, and believe in yourself. Like I said, I love you all. I hope you all have a fantastic day. Find us on Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, the Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. Always on WakeUpCallDT.com, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, right here, where sports meets life, on mixlr.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT. And you can search our archives of our audio shows on Stitcher, Spotify. Just added stuff yesterday. Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Podbean, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. And our videos on YouTube.com/WakeUpCall or WakeUpCallDT. If you search WakeUpCallDT, all one word, or Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, you'll find us on these outlets. And I want to thank all of our proud partners: Cafe Cubal, Carvel DeWitt, Wildcat Sports Pub, Avocolis, with the ingredients to success. Use the promo code on myavocolis.com, AVS10. Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, fantastic places for our furry-loving friends. Trapper's Pizza Pub, Honda City of Liverpool, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Millhouse Market, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn. Go to maandpazpopcorn.com. Use that promo code DT20 and get 20% off your in-store pickup orders, as well as orders that will ship anywhere in the United States. So make sure you do that at maandpazpopcorn.com. That's and spelled out. maandpazpopcorn.com. Use the promo code DT20. In the meantime, God bless. No stress. Do your best, and we'll talk with you tomorrow morning, God willing, right here on Wake Up Call.